Who am I? I don't belong here. I'm not a real writer. Now, that's garbage. And I'm going to tell you why in this episode of Horrible Writing.
That will never work. You can't push that. Seriously? Don't. Oh my God, that's the other thing you can do. That's bad. You probably should find other hobbies. You ever learn how to stop? Be happy. While you're don't bother. I've seen better people. Do you really want to? And my third grade. Give it up.
Welcome to Horrible Writing, the rawest, most candid, in-your-face writing show on the interwebs because none of us have time to suck. Let's do this. Hey everybody, welcome to episode 66 of Horrible Writing. I am your host, Paul Sading. I hope this finds you better than I'm finding myself. I am currently trying to do my job and trying to squeeze in some writing while not being able to sit at my desk where I normally write because I, over the weekend, partially ruptured, I think, my Achilles. I'm still waiting for an appointment with an ortho to confirm, but hey, the ER docs haven't called me back and they said if we don't, that's good news. It means it's a partial rupture, not a full rupture. So no surgery, yay me. But definitely has thrown a wrinkle in my writing process, something I'm going to address sometime in the future, but that's not why we're here in this episode. I wanted to spend this episode encouraging you, the creative who might not necessarily believe you have what it takes to be successful. What is success, right? I mean, that's a problematic starting point to begin with. But let's assume that success is, like it is, whatever you define success to be. For each of us, it will be different. Not all of you who listen to this show have the same aims that I have with your writing, and that's totally fine. Again, it's all acceptable. But one thing that isn't acceptable is allowing that inner critic, that doubting Thomas voice, to take over your personality and control your destiny. Because you see, that voice will do that if you empower them, if you enable them, if you hand over the power and control of your writing destiny. Now, it can be vicious. And problematically, it can be confirmed by outside voices. And that just starts a snowball effect. And even on a subconscious level, we recognize we don't have what it takes to make it before we even give it an honest effort. The problem with that is we don't know. The doubters don't know. The internal voice doesn't know. It's a defense mechanism internally, and it's a manifestation of jealousy and envy externally. People don't like seeing other people achieve, unfortunately. That's why community and support is so critical in this journey of yours. And if you are looking for a community, make sure you join us on Facebook at the Horrible Writing Writers Support Group. We'd love to have you over there. And it's definitely a jealousy, envy-free zone. We don't tolerate that stuff, along with promotions, self-promotion stuff. We don't allow any of that because it's about us and about the community, which is something that we all need to get through this process. The title of the episode is called Publish with Attitude because that's my style. That's my approach to life in general, but that's my style when it comes to publishing. Look, I know I'm not the best writer in the world. I know the books that I have put out there, the 3 books I've published in 2018, are not going to change the world tomorrow, and they're not going to live or outlive me. And I'm okay with that. You know why? Because that's not my priority. Yes, I do want to be a great writer. I want to be a great author. I want movie rights. I want millions of people around the world to be waiting for my next release. I want HBO to license me. I want all of those things, but I also realize that while I'm working towards bigger goals, none of which those are actually on my landscape, at least not right now, I am not worried about that. My goal was to publish this year. I published 3 times. My goal next year is to publish 3 better books next year while working on a bigger project that I'll have for 2019, 2020. I am excited and I'm comfortable with what I've put in the world. I've said this before. And even though I'm still very much in the early stages of having the second and third books out into the world, I've recognized the momentum that multiple books create. Nobody's lying when they tell you that. You got to have a couple books out there to even start entertaining ideas of grandeur. Not that I'm doing that or that I'm delusional, but I'm definitely seeing momentum on everything because now I have a couple things in the marketplace. And I'm able to start doing some of those bigger picture things that I couldn't do before. Now that I've added Novel Idea to podcast and 12 Deaths of Christmas, now that they've both been published in November, I was able to turn around and make my short story, The Plant, go wide because my KDP Select window expired and I did not re-enroll it because I want something wide and I want something perma-free, which I worked this week to adjust. I'm just at the beginning of it, but I've noticed a significant bump in all of my titles, all 3 of them, plus The Plant, which is the short story I was referring to. And that sense of momentum just validates what I've already felt all along. I don't say this to be antagonistic or belligerent. I really literally don't. And those of you who know me more closely probably understand this. Those of you who are just casual listeners or maybe first-time listeners, you may not believe this yet. I can only share this with you and hope that you give me the benefit of the doubt until I prove you right or wrong. But when I publish, I do it for me and any of the me's out there. And what I mean is, this isn't vanity. I publish for me. It's a dream that I've always had. And I just love telling stories. I love sharing stories. In terms of the me's that are out there in the world, I'm publishing for that person on the other end that's going to pick up that story, that book, that nonfiction work, and let it inspire them. I've had so many encouraging messages, especially over the last month with 12 Deaths of Christmas and Novel Idea to podcast being published, about my work inspiring others, about my work bringing enjoyment to others. So those are the me's out there. I write for me ultimately, but I celebrate the fact that there are other people who enjoy what I'm creating. I say that to follow up with this next comment that I hope will help those of you who are on the fence, or maybe you're on the other side of the fence, not sure if you can hop over it to come join me in this publishing journey. I don't care what people say. I don't care what happens to my book or books. Sam lunged as a Chrysler 300 slammed on its brakes, leaving the surface of the road and sliding into the gravel bank where he stood. Seizing pain exploded in his hips at the moment fiberglass and steel met flesh. His legs were no longer his own, unfeeling and useless. The world tumbled. Sky, white earth, clouds, brown boulders poking out of the snow. His legs flopped, arcing over his downward pointed head. And then he landed. The world punched him in the face. Rocks of all sizes, small and tiny, cut into his back, his arms, his face. Sam tumbled over and over before finally crashing into a lawnmower-sized boulder. Radiating warmth in his hip, was the only thing that convinced him that he still might actually be alive. Oh my God, I can't move. This excerpt was from my horror anthology, 12 Deaths of Christmas, available in ebook and paperback on Amazon. Now, I know that sounds inflammatory. I know that sounds belligerent, but it's not about that. It's about attitude. I'm having so much fun publishing. I'm enjoying this journey so much. I'm enjoying sharing these stories with other people who value them and hearing back from those people so much that literally nothing except death itself is going to stop me. I'm enthusiastic. I'm effervescent. I'm joyful. I'm fulfilled by this journey. That's what I mean about publishing with attitude, because my goals are all lined up. I have goals for myself in my writing, and I'm realizing those goals because of the way I've structured them. And I'm going to talk about that in the future because I definitely see a need out there in the community about writers who aren't really strong goal definers. So we are going to cover that, but not today. Today, I want to show you the benefit of establishing strong goals. And this, I hope, is the embodiment of that, at least in part. I literally don't care what happens out there because I'm so fulfilled by what I'm doing. I'm going to keep publishing. The naysayers, the people who don't support, who aren't supportive, the critics, the non-constructive critics, their slings and arrows don't even dent my armor. They don't. They just bounce right off of me. That's what publishing with attitude is all about for me. That your goals match up with your ambitions, your drive, your capabilities in a way that everything is in sync. And you transcend just yourself. Your creations transcend just creative works. And it creates a force that's irresistible. It helps you overcome petty jealousy and envy of other people. It helps you overcome the fact that people in your own home maybe aren't supporting this venture. It helps you overcome the fact that your writing in that book wasn't as strong as it could be, or, oh my gosh, I have a mistake, grammatical mistake in that book. It helps you overcome all of those things. It's about taking your space. You have a space in the creative market, but are you taking it? Why not? What is holding you back? 9 times out of 10, it's something right in between your ears. That's for those of you who want to publish. I know there are writers out there who simply write for therapy, catharsis, for self-fulfillment only, and they're happy with that. Again, that's goals aligning with those behaviors, and that's great. But for those of you whose goals are to publish and you're not, what's going on that stops it? This publishing with attitude is what gets you through this. It's a mindset. This is your space. You do belong. And no one can take that from you except for you. So if you are holding yourself back, why? Write me, email me, reach out to me at Twitter at Paul Sading or Writing Horrible. Go over to the website, paulsading.com, hit the contact tab and leave me a message. I will respond. But there is absolutely nothing wrong with you, your writing, or your desire to publish. If people tell you otherwise, they're a toxic force. And we are the sum of the people we hang around. We influence them, they influence us. Do you want them influencing you? Toxicity has no place for a creative, except for inspiration for an evil character. But it has no place for us. We don't need it around. It's not good. And that's where we have to make that determination that there is a space for me. I do belong, and I am going to do this. All of you be damned if you have to say that. Hopefully none of you have to, but I do realize there are writers in situations where there is little to no support. But even you belong. You might not be able to have as edgy of an attitude as I have. I do have support. I do have love. But it doesn't make it any less true. Have the attitude that you do belong. Have the attitude that there is a space for you. You just need to take it. Because it's true. The only thing stopping you is you. What are you going to do to change that? Come join us in the Horrible Writing Writer Support Group on Facebook. Talk to us. We're all friendly. We're all there to help. That is the purpose of that group. But you're epic. Your stories are epic. And don't ever let someone tell you they're not. So until you hear from me next time, how about going and leaving a rating and review? Some of you have actually started doing that. Thank you very much for doing that. It helps out immensely. Also, if you like this show and you want to help it out, patreon.com/Paul Sading. Or just go to paulsading.com and hit the support tab. Become a patron. Get all kinds of exclusive stuff to include. Now I am starting to do a monthly Q&A, Ask Me Anything, and publishing behind the scenes episode once a month. So patrons are getting more and more exclusive content all the time because they're the ones who help this stuff happen. So if you want some of that stuff, if it is helpful for you, go over there, check it out, see if you can help out. I look forward to hearing from you. I do want to hear from those of you who want to learn how to publish with attitude. I want to hear your struggles, your strife, your successes. So reach out to me, paulsading.com, hit the contact tab, send me an email. Until you hear from me again, keep being epic.
This has been Horrible Writing, and hopefully after this episode, you suck less than you did at the beginning. I am Paul Sading, your host extraordinaire. You can find me over on the Twitterverse @WritingHorrible and over at paulsading.com/horrible-writing. Until next time, suck less.